What is going on, everyone? Happy post Super Bowl Monday. Let's go. Hopefully, you guys are feeling okay because something's going around in the United States. I forgot how many people actually called in sick from work. Big Money Joe said on our Discord, but a record breaking amount of people called in sick today. So I hope everyone's okay. Vincent, is anything going on? I know you're in the medical field out here. What is happening? Is there an outbreak going on right now, Vince?
It's all those broken hearts, all those Swifties.
Broken hearts or people celebrating too much? Oh my gosh. And down go the bloody red Chiefs. If you guys saw the thumbnail today, the Chiefs are down. And not only did they lose, they got demolished. They got embarrassed. They got killed out there. It's just, did I want the Chiefs to lose? Yes. Did I want that to be the last game before next season? No. That game, it was very disappointing. Reed, what are your thoughts about the game?
Very disappointed by the game. I didn't see it going that way at all. Big Money Joe saying to me, people bet on the Chiefs. From what I heard, 60% of the bets were on the Eagles. Maybe that, I guess 40% is too much for you. But I thought the Chiefs were going to be winning this game. I was clearly wrong by the obvious outcome of the game. But I thought they were going to be able to keep it close, and Patrick Mahomes, 2 minutes, gets it done. That's what I thought was going to happen, but that Eagles defense was a difference maker. The only way I saw it, I may be wrong. I'm not 100%. That's just what I heard on the Pat McAfee show. I may be wrong, and those guys are always wrong, so we'll see. But the only way I saw the Eagles winning this game was if the O-line, D-line weren't just better than the Chiefs O-line, D-line. They couldn't just be better. They had to have dominated the game in order for them to win, in my opinion. And that's exactly what they did. From start to finish of that game, they harassed Patrick Mahomes on the D-line. The O-line just was not ready. I thought Andy Reid was going to provide some type of more protection for Patrick Mahomes, knowing how good those players are. I thought that he was going to bring in more tight ends, do constantly block, running backs to stay and block. But you really didn't see a whole lot of that, unfortunately. And offensive line for the Eagles, those guys were incredible. They got after Saquon, limited him to, I believe, 60 rushing yards. He ended up getting 40 reception yards as well, so he still had a good game. But they stopped the ground game. But they put way too much into stopping Saquon that opened up everything else for A.J. Brown and everything else. They looked like us before Greenlaw got injured. Okay.
It's true. We dominated before Greenlaw got injured. That's when Travis Kelce came. But Reed, have you heard the term of pretty muscles? Have you heard that term before?
I'm imagining what it alludes to, but I don't think I've heard it.
Vincent, I know your dad was in the weight room. He was a powerlifting coach. I know you know the term pretty muscles, correct? Correct.
Cuts.
Yeah,
pretty muscles. A lot of people, especially back in high school, like to go to the gym and work out pretty muscles, your arms, right? You got the triceps, the biceps. That's what you really focus on. You work on that 2-3 times a week and put little to no attention to your traps, to your back, to your legs, whatever it is. Now, I think Travis Kelce may be the definition of pretty muscles for the tight end position, because we could talk about the tight end position on and on again. And I totally agree with you there, Reed. Hey, why not give Patrick Mahomes extra protection, right? Why not get him a tight end to stay back? Why not get him a running back to stay back? Well, it's because Travis Kelce is an oversized wide receiver. He's a glorified wide receiver. Yep. He works on the pretty muscles, all the show, the touchdowns, the receptions, all that. And you go back to the arguments that we had before. I'm just going to say it because I know him best out of every other tight end is George Kittle, right? He does the dirty work. He does the grunt work in the trenches. He's a great blocking tight end, and you can't completely ask for that from Travis Kelce, and you're seeing that with Noah Gray as well this past game. Now, what running back can you rely on to stay back there and to crack that defender, right? Crack that defensive tackle, crack that linebacker who's coming in. You can't ask Isaiah Pacheco. His body's way too small. He's not trained to do that. We saw pregame that Patrick Mahomes was going up to every single player, dapping his players up, dapping him up. Yeah, we got this. We got Samaje Perine gets up, and he's like this. He totally skipped Samaje Perine. I don't know why. We don't know the story, but that's your biggest back, right? And your biggest back is going to have your back. in the backfield, right? You're not going to have Kareem Hunt blocking for you. You're not going to have Isaiah Pacheco blocking for you. That's when you have Samaje Perine, the big body, big man Blastoise, whatever you want to call it, come back there and crack that linebacker, whoever's coming right at you. Perine might be getting the biggest, might be the biggest running back in that running back room for sure, but that's what happens when you don't have supporting cast, right? You don't have a supporting cast in that offense to do the dirty work, to have a receiver hit, to have a tight end hit, a running back hit. I think that was one of the biggest issues there where they lacked, right? A lot of offensive firepower, but it's what you call a glass cannon, right? Boom, pebble in the glass castle made out of glass, it falls. And I feel like that's what we saw. And that was an elite defense, what we saw from the Philadelphia Eagles. Vincent, your thoughts?
So I want to bring up the crazy stat that there was no time that Patrick Mahomes was passing the ball where the Eagles brought more than 4 rushers. So every time he dropped back to pass, 0% of the time, which is 0 out of, I forgot, it was like 15 to 20 something passes. I don't remember the number, but 0% of the time they rushed more than 4 defenders. So everybody was back in coverage. It was just the 4 guys up front. Jalen Carter, big number 93, I forgot his name, and a couple other guys on the defensive end were the only guys rushing. And they got to Mahomes 5 times in the first half. I don't remember how many sacks or how many hits he took in the second half, but it was pretty bad the whole game. So that's just what I think here. I don't know if it's pretty muscles. I don't know if it's bad blocking schemes or anything like that. Sweat, yeah. But in my opinion, the Eagles D-line and the Eagles O-line were just dominant. Those are the real MVPs of this game. We'll talk about the MVP later on. But in my opinion, those are the guys that actually won it. The trenches, what everybody wants their team to, put their first, second, third round picks into most of the time, trade up for those guys because those guys make the difference. This was just like plain out. That was what it was. They had the biggest, beefiest damn guys that got the job done, and they killed it. So that's all I think.
Boys are huge. Now, I do want to talk about the MVP candidate, but Reed, did you have anything to add on to that conversation?
Yes, I do, because what Vincent's saying about how effective the pass rush was, and the Chiefs weren't able to do it. The Chiefs are going to be heavily investing in their offensive line again. We saw them do this back when they faced the Bucs in the Super Bowl, and they got absolutely demolished, just like in this game. Patrick Mahomes was just getting attacked the entire game. They've heavily invested in their offensive line after that year. They're going to do the same like that this year. And I think a lot of other teams are going to be watching this Super Bowl and realize, hey, we can't win the big game if we're going to be going against the top defenses like that. We can't. We gotta be able to draft and develop in the O line and have great players there, or there's no way we're gonna win winning games. I think definitely this offseason and in just the free agency and in the draft, a lot of teams are going to be attacking the offensive line in this offseason. I think a lot of teams are. You got 2 right here, the Niners and Seahawks that need to fix their O lines. You got the Packers who are always looking to upgrade their O line. I think a lot of other teams are going to be looking to upgrade their O line. Big One just says, y'all think Rice would have made a difference? Not big enough. Like it would have been nicer to have someone that you had all season that you could throw to instead of DeAndre Hopkins and Hollywood Brown, who came in the back end. But still, there was nobody to block for Patrick Mahomes. That was the main problem for the Chiefs. You can't. It doesn't matter what type of pass catchers you put out there. There was nothing you could do with how fast they were getting to him.
I guess I want to add on to that comment too, Big Money Joe. I think the only difference that maybe he would have made was maybe make that catch that D-Hop dropped right when he was wide open. I don't know what the hell happened. D-Hop, I'm going to say it. He's fallen off. Okay, he's not the great receiver that he once was. He is a name. He does call for attention, but you can't make that drop there in the biggest game of the year. And then he wants to come out in the post press conference saying, "Oh, there's a lot of questionable calls. Do we want to talk about that now?" And I'm like, "Oh, hey, dude, everyone's losing respect for you now. Okay, you should have made that catch and made that game into something because they still had time to make it a close game, and D-Hop had no one else back there. If you made that catch, at least a 40 to 50 yard gain at the very least, if not at the touchdown.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It was a difficult catch. I don't think he would have fallen down if he was able to get both hands on that thing. But it was a difficult catch, but should have been caught by a guy of his caliber.
Correct.
He likes to think he is still.
His caliber, his history, his paycheck. Yeah. 100%.
I don't even know if that was a difficult catch, to be honest.
We looked at the replay. We saw a different angle. He didn't have to dive for it or anything.
Yeah.
It was
He
hit his hand.
He just tripped himself up, hit his hands, and he just fell.
Maybe I saw the wrong replay.
I know. That's what I was thinking. Like, we saw the replay. It didn't. The throw was actually pretty good. I thought it was a throw at first.
And they saw the wrong replay.
I think we were talking about that interception that Mahomes threw. No, it was the other guy, Bond, the linebacker. Yeah. That one was the one where he got hit or something.
So while we're going into this MVP caliber or this MVP voting, Cooper DeJean was actually top 3 after the 2-minute warning on who's going to get voted for the MVP of the game. And did y'all know, I could have read this wrong, but it was actually his birthday as well?
Yep.
That's crazy. He had a birthday pick 6. Yeah, him and Saquon, both birthdays, to double birthday tutty. Not tutties. Did Saquon get a tutty? I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
He did, right? So that's super awesome. Good for them. But here are the bets for the MVP. So the Super Bowl odds, you had Eagles QB Jalen Hurts at minus 5,000. Josh Sweat, the guy that Vince was talking about earlier, plus 850, and then Cooper DeJean at plus 950 here. And that was right after the 2-minute warning of the betting odds. Now, of course, some of this voting is done by the fans, but the rest is done by 16 other analysts and commentators for the NFL. Now, do we agree or disagree with Jalen Hurts winning the MVP here?
I would have to say disagree. I think he played well, but I don't think he was the reason that his team succeeded. I don't think he was the singular reason. I think Cooper DeJean's pick 6 in that moment really solidified the momentum for the Eagles. Hey, this is the Eagles game, and it's theirs to lose. I think that was a momentum shift and a huge play to get a defensive touchdown. Once they got the defensive touchdown, I knew it was over. To get a defensive touchdown in the Super Bowl, that's a huge swing, and hard to overcome.
Vince?
I mean, you guys know I wanted Jalen Hurts to win the MVP for the regular season a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
I agree with Reed. I don't think this performance this time was all that great.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but obviously I just think that Cooper DeJean just didn't do too much after that as of stat-wise. Of course, he played amazing defense. I mean, him and that whole back 7 were just dominating the entire game. So obviously they're not going to get too many stats besides that pick that he got. But yeah, I would have loved to see a rookie white cornerback / safety to win, the MVP for the Super Bowl. It would have been cool to see, but obviously I'm cool with my boy Jalen Hurts, who I follow. I follow his agent, Nicole Lynn. She's a rising star in the NFL world now, signing a lot of big names and stuff. So I follow both of them on Instagram, keep up with everything they do. So I'm not mad at it, but obviously I just don't think that this was like the main guy to, kill it. I would have even liked to see Saquon get it, but obviously he didn't have the stats to surpass Jalen Hurts either.
Unfortunately. And I mean, his completion ratio was actually pretty good for Jalen Hurts. He was 17 for 22, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. But what really set him apart this game was his rushing attempts here. I know he had 2 breakout runs. He had a total of 11 carries for 72 yards, averaging 6.5 yards a carry, which is pretty damn good for Jalen Hurts and must be pretty damn annoying for the Kansas City Chiefs. I know I was watching it and I was like, oh, wow, like that would have pissed me off. There's so many times I've seen that going up against the Niners. I'm just like, I hate mobile quarterbacks. I cannot stand them. But good for Jalen Hurts. I know people are questioning his career there in the NFL. How good is he really? Is he an elite quarterback? Is he this? Is he that? I just think he's a good quarterback in a great system right now. And he's, honestly a good guy from what we've seen so far in a viewer's eyes on and off the field. I really don't have anything bad to say about the dude. But going over to the other side with the quarterback situation, this is probably one of the worst performances from Patrick Mahomes. You could say in postseason, but really during the season as well, he did not play that well, and he made up a lot of his yardage and his completions towards the back half of the game where the game was already solidified. He had a long bomb touchdown, which is pretty amazing. But before that, I mean, this dude, it must have been frustrating as a Kansas City Chiefs fan watching him. Just not, his pocket presence wasn't the greatest. Wasn't able to scramble out of the pocket like he usually does. But what can we say about Patrick Mahomes this past game, and what can we say about him moving forward?
As far as for me, definitely, as you said, was not his best game. Farthest from it. It was really bad game from him. Now, I do think he was dealt a bad hand. You got an aging Travis Kelce as your tight end, who's not as good as he used to be. Your wide receiver crew is just a hodgepodge of random dudes that you put together. Running back crew, Jamal Charles is sorry. That's who. That's
Isaiah Pacheco.
Pacheco, yes, it wasn't the same after injury. But
and I forgot what his name is too.
Jamal Charles. Let's move on.
Yeah.
As far as offensive weapons, not the greatest. The offensive line, obviously terrible. So I do think there's a blame for everybody, as this is a team sport. And if you don't realize that, then you are just blind. It's a team sport. Everybody does it together. But a huge fault has to fall on Patrick Mahomes. And he took fault after the game, saying he needs to work on his pocket presence and how to evade sacks and get better, because that's really his kryptonite. That we've seen him fail in the playoffs is when they are able to get after him. So if he's able to get that part of his game better, then I think he's going to be a lot better in the future. So that's what he said is his offseason focus. We'll see if he's able to get better at that. But as far as going forward, I still think he's a great quarterback. I hope we never see him in the Super Bowl again because it's been too many times over the past 7 years. I gave him the chance to do a three-peat and cheer for him. You ain't getting no more for that for me. I'm not those like Chiefs or cheaters type of person, but we've seen you enough. Please go away and let other guys get into the Super Bowl. But I still think he's going to be good as long as him and Andy Reid are going to be together. The Chiefs are going to be a great team. I'm not really worried about him as far as his performance.
Chill. The guy we're looking for, his name reads Kareem Hunt. I searched it up right now.
Jamal Charles is their old running back.
Yeah, their older running back. He was great running back.
I thought there's someone else came in because I said Kareem Hunt earlier, and I was like, "Am I missing someone?"
Oh, I didn't hear that. My bad,
I didn't hear you either. Yeah.
Oh.
But going on with that, it was just a really one-trick pony type of game for Patrick Mahomes, to be honest. Again, he was pressured a lot. That's part of the dealt a bad hand type of situation there. But, 157 of his yards went to Xavier Worthy. So, obviously, this offense is a little discombobulated on who's their prime guy outside of Xavier Worthy. And obviously, he's not an every down type of pass catcher, but he had 8 receptions for 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of those receptions was a 50-yard bomb that AJ talked about earlier. So obviously 107 yards on 7 receptions, which is pretty dang good for a young receiver like that in the biggest game in this, league. So kudos to Xavier Worthy. But Patrick Mahomes, 100 yards to everybody else. Again, we talked about how DeAndre Hopkins dropped the ball, Kelsey was just like abysmal, pretty much irrelevant the entire game. Juju Smith-Schuster, caught a couple of catches here and there, but again was not a factor. The running backs in the backfield weren't a factor either because there was just no time to get them the ball either. But again, it's just a really good Eagles defense. They were covering everything up and only sending 4 and getting a ton of pressure. So obviously I can't fault Patrick Mahomes there. But I said earlier before the game is that the Chiefs have some of the best coaches in the league, and they're both on the same team. But today they just got outcoached. They got behind the sticks, and they're not used to that, especially by double digits. And they kind of just like coddled at the Eagles' feet. It was just like, please stop. They're like, please stop. Like it was pretty bad. It was 34-0 at one point, going into the third quarter before the first touchdown from Patrick Mahomes, and it's unheard of. So it's pretty crazy.
It's kind of crazy that in almost every play, it was revealed that the Eagles defense had some sort of QB spy to keep an eye on Patrick Mahomes, and not so much a passive spy, like, okay, if he steps out of the pocket, I'm going to make sure I'm there to tackle him down. Kind of more of an aggressive guy, like, okay, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. All right, I'm going to go at it. Because when you look at this offense, kind of like you said, Vincent, they were a one-trick pony, right? It is not hard to defeat an offense when they're only doing one thing, and that's passing the ball. Now, without looking at the statistics, can anyone tell me how many times the Chiefs rushed the ball with their running backs?
Oh, dude, I'm going to say like 8 times probably.
Yeah, it's less than 10.
Close. They rushed a total of 7 times.
Okay.
You can't win a game with just passing the ball. You can't. And that's why I preach about the Niners. I mean, the Niners, if they rush the ball 12 times, you're just like, okay, that's horrible, right? These guys rushed the ball 7 times, right? Patrick Mahomes had more carries than their running backs. Patrick Mahomes had 4 carries, and those were just scrambles getting out. So they weren't designed runs. Okay, so he was just scrambling out of the pocket to try to get something out of nothing. But their running backs, their leading running back had 3 carries. 3. How, as a defense, you're like, dude, they ain't going to run the ball. And then by the time you know it, like Vincent said, it's 34-0. Now, for sure, they're not going to run the ball. They never set the tone, right? They never kept the defense honest early on. It was just pass, pass, pass. That's all we're going to do is pass, pass, pass. You're getting blitzed at all the time. Why not do a little outside toss, or outside run? Do whatever you need to do. Keep that defensive honest and make an easier, more manageable third down than a 3rd and long. Something I don't know, but that was very weird. We haven't seen that from the Kansas City Chiefs at all this year. But yeah, Big Money Joe, 7 rushes. Yeah, that's absurd. I want to see if that's some type of record for the NFL.
That reminds me of when the Ravens just like abandoned the run and like just got demolished in that game as well. Not as bad as the Chiefs here, but obviously when a team runs the ball decently well like the Chiefs do, with Kareem Hunt, with whoever's in Pacheco when he came back healthy, they just abandoned it. And obviously, like AJ said, just makes you one-dimensional. And they were playing into the strengths of the Eagles defense. I mean,
exactly. You can't win a game that's one-dimensional. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. Like you said earlier, Vince, Saquon Barkley did not have a good game, right? He wasn't getting anything going. He had a awesome freaking catch towards the back half of the game, which is great. But as far as rushing wise, he got stuffed most of the time, almost like 80% of the time that he rushed the ball. But you know what? The Eagles continue to do it to keep the defense on their toes, to keep them guessing. That's how you run a football team. That's how you run an offense. So that's something I just wanted to add there. Reed, you had any thoughts on that?
No, I was trying to figure out the least amount of rushing attempts ever. I'm getting a work call, but so I'm going to have to step off real quick. But yeah, not acceptable at all.
So speaking of records in the NFL, Vince, I kind of mentioned this yesterday, and I did not do my research to search it up, but I'm going to bring this back into conversation here because I know I've heard it that one of the reasons why paying a running back isn't supported in the NFL because they cannot remember the last time a top I want to say a top 5 running back won the NFL and won the Super Bowl, right? There is no team with a top 5 running back to win a Super Bowl. And now all that changes here with Saquon Barkley. He was actually the leading rusher in the NFL. And here he goes out there. Didn't have the biggest game, but sure as hell got them there to win a Super Bowl. I like I said, I just think that's amazing. I really hope that changes the tone for the NFL and how they view running backs. Now, of course, the Niners were close last year, but coming close, coming in second doesn't count. What can we support paying these running backs now? Is this enough evidence that having an elite running back like Saquon Barkley is essential, is very important to an offense?
Nah.
I think it's only beneficial to teams that are wanting to run the rock. The Eagles have always run the ball, like for as long as I can remember. They've always had a shady LaShawn McCoy. They've had a few other running backs run through there. Rashad Penny was there for a little while, ex-Seahawk. I mean, they've always had somebody there that can run the ball decently well, and they've always stacked their O-lines as much as they can. So for teams who want to do that, like the Seahawks, the 49ers, I feel like the Packers are moving in that direction a little bit more. The Cowboys have gotten away from it because they just didn't have a running back, but they used to do that too. There's a lot of teams. A lot of teams used to just run the rock like crazy, but half of those teams did not have the O-line like the Eagles did. So obviously there's a system here in Philadelphia, and that's why I agree with Reed probably that most running backs are not going to get paid. They're not going to matter as much as Saquon did to the Eagles, because the Eagles were just looking for that last piece. You look at their wide receivers, stacked. Devontae Smith, what's his name? A.J. Brown, Goddard, a couple other guys. They got, what's his name?
Dotson.
Jahan Dotson, yeah. Almost got that touchdown for Rave. Almost. We were pretty mad about that, but they were stacked already. Offensive line was stacked. Receivers were stacked. Quarterback, of course, they have a guy who can pretty much do it all, running, passing, making some smart decisions here and there. But they just needed that running back. They were cycling through running backs the past 3 years, ever since that last Super Bowl appearance. And they got it figured out. The Giants made a huge mistake, and the Eagles were there to scoop them up and save them. And now they're Super Bowl champions. So,
yeah.
The Big Money Joe says this was the Saquon effect. They wanted to stop the best running back and said F everyone else, as AJ said. So that's what the top running back will do. The top running back does make a difference, especially if you have someone like Saquon's caliber. And I cannot continue to rave on about how I was disgusted about the Giants' decision to pay stupid Daniels. I have no freaking idea. The GM asked his kids, what do I do? And his son said, you pay Saquon, draft Jaden Daniels. Listen to the damn kid. Where would you be at now if you kept Saquon? Then the following year you drafted Jaden Daniels. What? Oh my gosh, dude, that would have been a totally different team. And it is just a shame that there's some people out there that I don't know. They're very fortunate with the jobs they have.
Very, very true. Big Money Joe says, so money well spent on Saquon. And that's where my thought process is you can't just think of these big contracts that you're signing to these veteran running backs as just 1 year. Okay. Now, Saquon and the Eagles, you can think of it as 1 year because they got a Super Bowl out of it, all right? It's worth whatever they paid him for the multi-year contract. Now, for other guys, you may be thinking like Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, both who had great seasons in their first year with a new team, looks pretty good so far. But with Derrick Henry, he's got another year on his contract. Who knows if he's going to be able to put up a similar stat line like this one next year. He's Derrick Henry, and we've been calling for him to start sliding for a while, so maybe he defies the odds again, but we just don't know. Josh Jacobs. I was very against the Packers signing him to this big contract. I didn't want a veteran running back. Now he's so far shut me up for this first year, and I hope he continues to do that, but we signed him to a 4-year deal. Do I think he's going to be great in doing this for another 3 straight years? That's pretty hard for me to believe at a running back position. I think there's going to be at least one of those years he's going to be knocked out the whole year due to injury, or he may just start regressing, as he is a aging running back. Right now he is 26, so he's not that old, but he's 27 next year, and 28, then 29 of his last year. So it starts to get up there. Saquon, as I said, it's already determined they won a Super Bowl. Doesn't matter what he does in these next 2 years of his contract. It's already worth it. But he's got another 2 years on his contract and $40 million total to pay out. It really just comes down to, is it worth it for the longevity of the big contract you have to sign them for? Besides, when you can just go get a cheap guy through the draft. I hope for all these guys they prove me wrong, but personally, I don't like signing a running back to a big deal like this. I was against Aaron Jones' big signing. I was against Josh Jacobs' big signing. Most years they shut me up. Other years I'm like, we're paying too much for a running back. That's just my thoughts. But for this Eagles, it's worked out pretty well for them so far.
For the Eagles, and unless you're playing Madden, right, Reed? So yep. Reed and his running game in Madden's insane. But I can't.
Fullback run.
But I stopped the fullback run. Yeah, I did. I found a way.
2 times.
But that was a lot of fun. But going into one of our last topics here, we're gonna go back to Big Money Joe's first comment. Let's get to something fun here. Let's talk about Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance, or I don't know what you want to call it, halftime diss on Drake. The more I look at it, the more I'm realizing what is actually going on in this halftime performance. Not one that I would put on the record books, because when I think about a Super Bowl halftime performance, I want to be entertained. I want to see people who I enjoy watching. I want to see some good music, and I just want to see it for football. Here, I checked one of those things off, heard good music, right? Everything else was like 100% a diss on Drake. All these weird you saw Samuel Jackson in there. For a second, I thought the Avengers were going to come out. I'm not too sure. But Big Money Joe puts on here, Kendrick murdered that performance. I'm still not done looking for more stuff, and I'm looking for other people's comments to find more stuff I missed. So I didn't really get it, right? At one point, one of our friends was like, was that Serena Williams? Right? Yeah. I'm like, no, dude, what? Why would she be there? Well, that's because she's actually an ex of Drake. And also that other girl, Saja, SJ, whatever. I don't know how to. I'm not kept up, you guys. I'm an old man here. SZA,
SZA, yeah.
SZA is also an ex of Drake. Another one that I heard was that right before he continued his lyrics, he said, "Say Drake," and then his next lyrics were, "I heard you like them young." And I was like, it kept going on and on and on. And I didn't realize this until this morning, actually, when I was getting a haircut and my barber was talking about the halftime show. And I was like, are you serious? It's about Drake? Like, what? I had no idea, because I don't keep up with that field. But did y'all catch up on anything that happened during the halftime show that maybe you want to talk about here?
Yeah, so I was going on Twitter the entire time and trying to figure it out, because I was like, this sucks in my opinion. But yeah, there's a lot of other things, like talking about like can't do that because I'm gonna get sued. I think one of the things he said, he was wearing a chain that was a minor A, so A minor. There's so many things that he did. AJ didn't need to cut. Yeah, he's looking nice and fresh this morning. Good. But yeah, there's a lot of different things. I gotta say, bringing both of his exes out to perform on stage is some wild stuff. Like the singer, one thing, but to bring Serena Williams out to just dance, that's the most wild, pettiest thing I've ever heard of in my life. Other than that, I thought it was pretty lackluster. I didn't think there was like those crazy moments as far as the stage setting or cool things they did. I thought it was pretty lackluster. in my opinion. There was no Left Shark. There was no there was no Katy Perry riding on like a dragon. I forget what she rode on or whatever.
The sharks,
Lady
the
Gaga
dancing sharks,
falling from the top of the stadium.
Oh yeah,
there's nothing like super cool about it other than just absolutely obliterating a man live in front of 126 million people. That was the only thing that happened in that halftime show, and that was his only thing he was trying to accomplish. He accomplished it well. Hats off to you, man. I gotta give you praises, but everything else, as far as for me, was pretty lackluster.
Yeah, the only thing that I saw that was like more info on that stuff was they used a PSP or not a PSP, a PlayStation controller, and that was like what the dancing area was. If you looked at it closely, it had like the X, the O, all that stuff. Serena Williams danced inside the X because she was an X with Drake, is what I heard. I also heard that Sony is like in a partnership with Drake, and that's why he chose to do the PlayStation controller, because it was just like everything was like connected somehow to something that Drake does. And then at the end of the thing, it said game over because they're saying that Drake's career is over, basically. That's probably the only other things that I heard. But then again, I haven't really kept up with that beef. But the mustard song always goes off, so I always scream it randomly, like mustard. So that was like one of his like most famous songs. And
dude, I didn't know that all his new songs were just disses on Drake.
Yeah.
I was always like A minor. I was here thinking about like music, like an A minor. I didn't think he was saying A minor, like it was crazy. But did y'all also catch that there was street lights during the halftime performance?
Yeah, I saw the street lights.
Do you think that was reference to Eagles fans destroying the streets in Philadelphia?
It may have been.
I don't know if y'all saw. I think I sent y'all a TikTok, dude. I know there's that incident, right? The championship game Reed told me about. But these guys just don't learn, right? They're knocking down street posts, fires all over the streets out there in Philadelphia. I have no idea what these people are savages out there. I don't know how else to explain it, but they don't know how to act. Yeah, there you go. Ray, so sorry, John Dotson.
I know, dude.
We all, as soon as it happened, man, we were like Ray!
Yeah.
We were freaking out for you, man. That was so unfortunate. And then the touchdown thief.
I know.
Jalen Hurts comes in and takes it from you. He's a thief.
I messaged somebody, dude. I think I told y'all in the beginning. They messaged me like right before the game. They said pick one to score the first touchdown in the game, and he gave me Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Patrick Mahomes, like all that, right? And I put Jalen Hurts, tush push. he freaking gets it, dude. How insane was that? So congratulations to you. But the game, down goes the Chiefs. Reed, I know you said you would rather have any other team make the Super Bowl in the AFC, right? Give someone else a chance.
Yeah.
No more Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Early Super Bowl predictions for next year? Way too early Super Bowl predictions for next year.
Gosh.
Come on, we're doing it. Come on, what's up? Who wants to go first? Reed,
I got it.
Okay, here we go. Come on, bring it on.
So, NFC side, let's get it. Let's be real, right? Aaron Rodgers went to the Super Bowl, won it on his third season starting. Jordan Love does it in his third year starting, right? Obviously, the Packers are going to be making the Super Bowl, and they're going to win, all right? It's so obvious. Everybody knows, all right? Now, on the AFC side, I'm going to go with Josh Allen. Josh Allen is going to go to the Super Bowl and lose to Jordan Love. Josh Allen finally gets it done in the playoffs, and even though he's playing incredible every single year, doing incredible things, he's finally going to get over the hump. Not the 49ers. The whole team is going to be on a little drama trip this offseason and all want contracts or want to be traded, especially Brock Purdy. Just you wait.
No.
Just
Let
you
me
wait.
give you a
Just
real
you wait to the holdout.
way
Just
too
you wait to
early
the holdout.
Super Bowl. There is no holdout. Brock Purdy goes
Just
and
you wait.
farms land during the bye week. He's a stud. Okay, there's a difference between bum Debo and someone like George Kittle. George Kittle wants to retire a Niner. Nick Bosa said it himself, I'm happy to retire a Niner. Thank you so much for this contract. Then you have these bums who they feel like they're privileged to anything, like Debo Samuel, who gets hurt every time he gets touched. And then you have Brandon Ayuk that gets hurt as soon as he gets paid. This is we're gonna have a classic match in the Super Bowl. Okay, of course, we're gonna have our bang bang Niner gang. We're getting healthy. We're gonna package a deal up for Cleveland and send off bum Debo over there and send off a couple of picks to get Myles Garrett. And we're gonna have Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, a fully healthy team. We're gonna have CMC ready to go. We're gonna have a new year, new Brock Purdy, more experience, get him to the Super Bowl and win it against the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, Joe Burrow, he's coming up. That's it, bro. The Chiefs are down. Who's the king of the jungle, baby? Let's get the Tigers out here. The Bengals are Niners, Super Bowl, Niners win, Brock Purdy MVP. F you, Debo. Get the hell out of here.
Oh, my gosh. This one's hard for me, because I have 3 teams in the AFC that I want to go to the Super Bowl, and we talked about it the other day. We want the Cincinnati Bengals, the Ravens, or we want the Bills. I think the most fun one would be the Bills, and I think they have one of the best chances to do it this year, but they just need to figure out their offense and a couple of new defensive players because that defense is aging. So I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals because I think that they actually bolster that side of the defense because their offense hopefully can retain at least one guy. Who will that be? I don't know. And they need to get a new running back, in my opinion. I'm not too sure if Brown is going to be able to do it this year and get them there by himself. So, in my opinion, I think they could be somebody to go get Ashton Gianti inside the first round. But we'll see. I don't know. That's just my prediction there for my way too early NFL draft prospects and where they're going to go this year. But on the other side, I would love to say the Seahawks, but I think we're still one more year removed from making it to the Super Bowl. I do think we'll make the playoffs this year. But the team that I still think is going to get there is the Lions. I think they're due. As long as they get everybody back healthy, I think they're going to be the team to make it there. Do I think that their quarterback is the reason they get there? Heck no. Jared Goof can go die in a hole. He needs to go back and be on the script of The Notebook. But I don't know, dude. But I still think if they keep Montgomery, if they keep everybody that they can on the offensive side, like they pretty much should be able to. All the defensive players are pretty much signed to their roster already. They don't have too much cap space, but they really just don't need to do anything beyond what they were doing already. So I think they're a well-oiled machine, and I'm still riding with that team until they can get that entire defense back, because it was literally the entire defense that was out for almost half the season. So, yep.
Lions are nothing without Ben Johnson.
I was about to say the Lions are losing some coordinators that could cause some issues out there, but getting back Aiden Hutchinson will be huge for them and other players. But I mean, only time can tell. I like Big Money Joe's comment here. If the Bills get Garrett, the Bills winning the ball. That's if they can maintain people like Von Miller and etc. in that defense. But I think any team who gets someone with the caliber of Garrett, that's changing their team. That is changing. I mean, Myles Garrett is a top dog in his position here in the NFL.
He's not getting traded though.
Probably not. But I mean, the GM already came out and said, if you want to start trades, the conversation has to start with multiple first rounds. It's possible. Okay, not saying it's impossible. It's improbable, but it's not impossible. I would love to see Myles Garrett with the Niners, of course, but it would be extremely scary if he goes to any other team. Yeah, because the Browns are just a dumpster fire right now. Let's just be real. He's not a threat over there. But yeah, if he goes to someone in the mix of the Lions, of the Packers, the Niners, even Seattle Seahawks, any other team that has their head screwed on right. So besides the Browns, besides the Giants, besides the Jets, yeah, I think he would make a huge factor in any team. Besides the Patriots too. Well, actually, with the new head coach, we'll see. But man, that was a lot of fun, you guys. Do you guys have anything else you want to share about your Super Bowl experience?
No, it was good as game as it could have been. There's moments that were laughable and good. But I have one question for you. I think we're ending soon, but AJ, I have a question.
Okay.
Have you talked to our good friend that's a Chiefs fan?
Yes.
How's he doing? How's he doing?
I only told him one thing.
Okay.
And I said, sorry, bro. I know how it feels. That's all I said. I'm not going to rub the salt in the wound.
Yep.
And he responds with, yeah, it's tough. Can't win them all. Okay, brother. Okay. All right, dude. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah. But to him and to a lot of other people out there, I just want to say it's not cool being a fair weather fan. Okay. It's not cool.
Damn.
I want to show this experience here. Okay. Church is a sanctuary, right? Please, let's not include one is politics, right? Include football in church, and they allow people to come in their jerseys and all that. And I heard a lot of "Go Chiefs, go Chiefs!" And the right before the sermon started, they're like, "Okay, let's meet and greet, say hi, welcome someone new, and let them know who you're going for the Super Bowl." Right?
Oh, gosh.
And there I am. I took my Niners jersey to church. I did it, and a lot of Chiefs fans were there. A lot. I had no idea those people even existed, right? But they were. If you're asking me who I'm going for in the Super Bowl and you see me wearing a Niners jersey, you don't watch football. You don't know. You're new to this, okay? Because even a Steelers fan came up to me and was like, I'm not even going to ask you. I already know what's up. So fair weather fans ain't cool. If you're just getting into football and that's the team you want to choose, cool, stick with it. That's your team. Stick with it. I'm going to end off there.
All right.
Vince?
I mean, it was fun. I always love getting together with all the boys and stuff and all the gals. But I'm just there to have a good time. You know, I wish the commercials were better. I wish the halftime show was better. I wish the game was better. But the company is always what I go for, 100%. So I was just glad that I got to spend it with you guys. But other than that, I mean, hopefully next Super Bowl is better because I hate that being the last game, like you said earlier. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But I'm also ready for the NFL draft. So it should be fun.
Super ready for that. Y'all stay tuned for our mock drafts that we will be doing here, our draft talk that we'll be doing here, and also all the lives that we'll be covering every single Monday here on this channel, as well as breaking news. So remember, if there's any breaking news that's happening in the NFL, this is going to be new for NSP. Oh, that was horrible.
I was going to say anything.
Wow. Dang it, dude. I ran out of water. That's why I'm all out. Vince wore Spurs jersey with WTF. I'm not going to knock him for the Spurs jersey. That was awesome.
NBA season, bro.
That's also true. But this is brand new from NSP, okay? If you hear breaking news, if there's something that rings your bell about the NFL, you better know that NSP will be live that day covering that topic. So make sure y'all have that bell notification on, hit that subscribe button, and once you see NSP live, or if you want to ask us on the Discord, are y'all going live for this NFL news? You bet your bottom dollar that we're going to be on. All right, so join us live. Let's talk football. It's the off season, but this season ain't off for us. Come on, baby. Let's do it. Y'all got anything else to say before we head out of here?
No.
All right. Thank you all so much. Appreciate you guys. And until next time, as we always say here, keep on grinding.